Good afternoon. Let me introduce the lesson we have for today. This lesson is basic writing skills, sophomore English, and the lesson was when I was a student 10 years ago. It was a second year course. Before that also it was a second year course. Therefore they call it sophomore English. Nowadays we call it basic writing skills, and it is delivered at higher education institutions in Ethiopia. And there are some changes in the course material over the years. Earlier when I took the course, there was a teaching material at Debre Birhan University, and the focus was on paragraph writing and essay writing. However, now there are changes, as you will see later on. Let me introduce myself. My name is Mezemir, and I'm a lecturer in English at Debre Birhan University. And this is my first video lesson in English. And what initiated me to do this lesson is that there are no available materials for students. Therefore, such video materials could help them practice and achieve better results in their final exams. Because it's final exam time, I see it final exam. As a learner, you should set your objectives. Because if you are a student, a first year student in Ethiopia at the public universities, you'll need this course to pass first year, and also to write good assignments and materials for other courses. That's the main target. If you are not a student in Ethiopia, a first year student in Ethiopia, you'll need this to just revise the major ideas in writing, and then you can practice your writing and achieve better results, whether you write as a student or professionally. The reference materials that I used for this handout are some books like College Writing Skills by Alamro Gabramara, and a book by the same title by John Langan, and internet sources. And I try to incorporate some local names into the examples, and there are some of my own sentences that I try to add to the examples. As you take the lesson, I expect you to have an exercise book to take notes and to write when I say write. And also you can stop the video wherever you like, because I may be speeding up to save time or for other purposes. However, I may give you time in the middle to do some activities and also to read some of the explanations. So I'll try to make the lesson interactive. And afterwards, if you find this lesson difficult, you can ask me for explanation, as you can get access to me through YouTube and my email. I'll be trying to be responsive as much as possible. So basic writing skills, my own memories. This course I took it at Debre Birhan University under Dr. Sema. Dr. Sema was a hardworking teacher, and he just gave us a number of lessons, and I remember writing a number of paragraphs and essays and reading in front of the class. There were also times when he took the paragraphs and marked. And we can discuss this matter. For example, whether your teachers gave you ample opportunities to write or only if you learned the concept. So, you improve writing through writing. So I don't want you to grasp the ideas here and just go. Instead, I want you to practice more. If we have, for example, a 3-hour lesson here, I want you to practice more hours, like 20 hours, 30 hours of writing. If you do that, and if you add some additional lessons, for example, you practice your vocabulary, your grammar, these sub-skills will be of paramount importance to improve your writing. So this is what I have to say as an introduction. Okay, just at times when I remember ideas, I will just explain to you. Next, this is the first part in the new revised curriculum. The first part is Unit 1 is just sentence level writing. And instead of saying just 1.1, let us put Unit 1 sentence writing. So sentence level writing, to make things simpler, we just started with the phrase and clause part. The phrase part is, as you can see, we just defined the phrase as a group of words without both a subject and a verb, or without a subject doing a verb actively, or just it's a group of words acting as a single part of speech. So it does not express a complete thought. We need an understanding of different types of phrases to build or construct a very good sentence or clause. So just we start from scratch. I know that some of you who are not in this new curriculum may question this, because you say we cover grammar and phrase and clause up to sentence level up to just grade 12, but just this is as a revision, and it is incorporated in the new curriculum. And for students who are just at universities, first year students, this may help you to prepare for your final exam. So in the final exam, you may be asked to identify what type certain phrases are. So let us check one by one. So noun phrase goes with the noun, and it is just a noun. It serves as a noun. Example is a hardworking woman. So when you ask in a sentence who, if we say hardworking woman is coming, so the hardworking woman is coming. So when you ask who or when you ask what, that will be the answer. Verb phrase, it has a verb in it. For example, has been acting. For example, she has been acting at the National Theatre. So the verb and related elements. If it is, for example, the present perfect tense, have attended, or if it is the past perfect tense, had taken. So the verb plus the helping verbs are verb phrase. Prepositional phrase has different functions, but just let's see structurally, this one, in the garden, is a prepositional phrase. To school. I'm just giving you a single example. So it has a preposition in it. Gerund phrase, as you know, gerunds in ing, and they serve as a noun. So here, writing helps learners to improve their academic skills. So writing is the gerund phrase. For example, you can say, for example, listening to music. It can be more than just the verb plus ing part also. And the participial phrase consists of the participle form of the verb, be it the present participle or the past participle. As you can see, the present participle form is have plus ing, having. In this case, having attended the rally, he reported to the media. So because it has present participle, it is the participial verb form, participial phrase. Assessing the situation, he decided about his future. This is also another example of participial phrase. Mark returned the damaged package. Damaged package is also a participial phrase with a past participle here, serving what type of package it is, telling us. Alex fell on the broken staircase. This one is also a participial phrase. Infinitive phrase, as you know, they have two. It consists of the present, the infinitive form of the verb. Therefore, in this sentence, to go out for a walk is the infinitive phrase. A positive phrase, it renames another noun, not technically modifying it. So it's, I think you know about the relative clauses. It's like a relative clause, gives us more information, but it does not have any relative pronoun like who, whom, that. It just gives you additional info, because if we have who, whom, that, it will be a clause. Therefore, Bob, my best friend, works here. My best friend gives us additional information, so it is the appositive phrase. Adverbial phrase, you know, it consists of a group of related words which play the role of an adverb. They are called adverbial because they serve as an adverb. They give us information about reason, time, place. Tony decided to move to New York in June last year, so the underlined parts, to New York and in June last year, are adverbial phrases. They give us information regarding time and place. She left quite suddenly. Here also the underlined part is adverbial phrase. The next is adjective phrase. So it does the work of an adjective. For example, in this sentence, it tells us what type of tribe it is. Dwelling in the hills gives us additional information about the noun tribe. Absolute phrase is like a noun phrase with a noun head word and with a post-noun modifier. It adds a focusing detail to the whole sentence. For example, here, nervous Jane stood by the window, her eyes darting around the room. Her eyes darting around the room, the underlined part is the appositive phrase. You know, it's not a sentence because her eyes darting around the room is not a sentence. To make it a sentence, we can add a verb. Her eyes are darting, helping me. That way it can be a sentence, but it is not a sentence. Don't confuse it with a complete sentence. So once we have a good understanding of phrases, we go to clauses. And clauses, as you know, are bigger than phrases, and they are part of a sentence which have finite form of the verb, which shows the tense and the subject of the verb. So it's a collection of words as a phrase is, but it has a subject actively doing a verb. That's the difference. So when we say dependent and independent clause, if it is an independent clause, it could be a sentence. For example, in the conditional clause is just dependent and the main clause is an independent clause. So that way, maybe sometimes a complete sentence can also be an independent clause. Could be a complete sentence could be called an independent clause. Types of clauses are given here. Okay, just before we go to types of clause, or before we go further, I just want to give just different types. Yeah, you can stop the video. Yes, you can stop the video and write, for example, an example for noun phrase, an example for verb phrase, an example for prepositional phrase, an example for gerund phrase, an example for participial phrase, an example for absolute phrase, and infinitive phrase, appositive phrase, adverbial phrase, adjective phrase. For each one of them, can you put an example? Can you write an example? This may take you some 10 minutes if you stop the video. So let us move on to clause types, because it is not giving information. Language is a skill, and I should not be just giving information. As I said earlier, you should practice. In language teaching, we have 3 P's: preparation, presentation, and practice. I prepared myself, I made this lesson, and now I'm presenting, but there should be practice from the student side. Types of clauses, as you can see, there is a noun clause, as we said, there is noun phrase. Yeah, here also clauses, there is noun. It functions as a noun. that he will come is certain. So the part here that he will come is the noun clause. Let me try to underline it. That he will come is certain, so this is a noun clause. And when you ask what is certain, that he will come is certain. Adjective, it modifies the noun and it is near the clause, so it is called this restrictive, non-restrictive, like defining and non-defining. So adjective clauses are relative clauses. I think you know that. They give us more information. Let me underline this. That's not the car that I saw. So the car that I saw last week, this part is the adjective clause. Don't forget to stop the video anywhere and try to write your own sentence. When you write your own sentence, you really practice, and then when we come to paragraph writing, you will not be new to writing. So adverbial clause, they function as an adverb, and here I just did not put them under a sentence. I just put the adverbial clause as it is. For example, adverbial clause of time, after the fruit is harvested. After the fruit is harvested, we can make a sentence, for example, but this is the adverbial phrase. Let us underline it. After the fruit is harvested, we will sell it. We will sell it to the merchant. So it can be just in a sentence, but this clause, as you know, cannot stand by itself. It should depend. It is a subordinate one. Place. Wherever there are computers, there is Microsoft. So wherever there are computers is the clause, which is telling us place information. So it is purpose clause. It answers why, the reason. She took the computer course so that she could get a better job. So this is why she took, to get a better job, so that she could get a better job. This so that makes it a dependent clause. But she could get a better job by itself was or is a main clause. Result clause, as you see, it focuses on result, the result of certain action. She ran so fast. So what happens when people run so fast? That she went out of breath. She went out of breath, or just she cannot breathe normally. Conditional clause, if you met her, she would tell you the condition. It depends on the condition. This one, she would tell you. How would she tell you? Should if you met her. So this is a conditional clause. It depends on this condition. These types of clauses are called conditional clause because they depend on a certain condition. Concession clause, the act of conceding, opposing, or giving opposite information. Or although Jay has a master's degree, he works as a store clerk. So this is concession clause. Although, even though, however. Comparison clause, she is as clever as her sister is. As her sister, there is understood, so that is why as her sister, or if you will, we can add is here. So just to give you some idea about this, most adverb phrases are introduced by a particular word or phrase, such as when, so that. These are called subordinated conjunctions, and there are many of them, including these, just, after, before, until, while, because, since, and so on. So we have to have them. So when you put them at the beginning of a certain clause, the clause will become dependent, subordinate. So that's adverbial phrase, giving you different functions of an adverb. So we have an exercise here. Can you try to see the sentences for a moment, 2 minutes? Check the sentences. Okay. Okay, dear student, now just this exercise, as you have seen, has 4 sentences. What are we asked to do? Can you say it? What is the instruction? Identify the dependent and independent clauses. Maybe what you can do could be, then underline them. Then underline the dependent ones. So underline that. How can we? In the first one, which one is the dependent one? That means the one that cannot stand by itself. This one or this one? Back. So this one is the dependent one because it cannot stand by itself. And here, what about here? This sentence is taken from Man of the People by Chinua Achebe because he's one of my favorites. No one can deny. Is this dependent or independent? However, just before we see whether one is dependent or independent, we should know which one is the clause, which one is the second clause, and so on. So let me do this. This one is the dependent clause, that chief nanga, because this dependent word that makes it dependent. Here, because makes it dependent. What about here? Which one is dependent? How many clauses are there in this sentence? So in this sentence, there is one clause, and that clause is an independent one. It's not dependent at all. Number 4. What about number 4? How many clauses do we have, and how do we know? We have 3 clauses here because you can check with the dependent word. This one, because it starts with although. It is one dependent word. And this one, let me make it bold, is another dependent one. Oh, we have another third one, sorry. So 3 dependent clauses and 1 foreign. You know, a knowledge of which one is dependent and independent will help you to check which one is what type. You know, first you should know the dependent and the independent. Then once it is dependent, then you will check, is it an adjective clause, is it adverbial clause, noun clause, like that. So it's a bit, it has steps. It's not complicated, but it has steps. Let us check this next part. Now, how is it going so far? The close end phrase part. Do not forget here also to write different types of clauses from your own. It's very simple. Conditional clause, for example, you have been learning from grade 7 on. Concession clause is common. So you just write. When you write conditional clause, please do not write about like if I were a bird. No, why don't you write if I were the prime minister, or I would sign a peace treaty, anything like that. Try to use different verbs instead of using just go study like that, which are common in high school textbooks. So now let's go to parts of a sentence, which is 1.2. So let me read it, or we can read it together. A sentence is a larger unit of grammar, usually containing a subject, a verb, Sentence is a larger unit of grammar. I think we don't need a comma. Usually containing a subject, a verb, an object, etc., and expressing a statement, question, or command, and starting with a capital letter. So this is about a sentence, and you are not new to this, I think. A sentence should have at least a subject and a verb, and should make a complete sense. Yeah, minimum is a subject and a verb, a subject and a predicate. So it has two parts, a subject and a predicate. So this is a sentence. It gives a common sense. It gives full sense and it makes sense. Let's just take this example, this exercise, which is an exercise in identifying the subject and predicate of the following sentences. The first sentence is I despise individuals of low character. So who are we talking about in this sentence? Who despises individuals of low character? So I is the subject. Despise individuals of low character. This one is the predicate. Let's make it in italic format. What about the second one? Which one is the subject and which one is the predicate? Check that. 1 minute. So what about now? This sentence, the second sentence. Which one is the subject? The subject is, I think we agree on this part. Who are we talking about? Who knows my name? The lab assistant. So let us underline it. Knows my name. So the lab assistant is the subject and the predicate is knows my name. Okay, good. So can you make sentences like this and identify the subject and the predicate? Let's go to the next part. You know, I just made this part only very short, not because there are no issues to discuss, just because I want to focus on other issues. We have a long way to go. Now we are on page 5 and we have 24 pages to go. 19 pages. Types of sentences is another part. Have you heard of types of sentences so far? Types. What do you know, for example? Types. And let's just talk about this issue. You know, experienced writers use a variety of sentences to make their writing interesting and lively. You should use a variety of sentences. If not, you know, it will be like choppy sentence. It will be boring. It is not interesting and it does not have life. If you have too many simple sentences, that will be choppy, immature. Too many long sentences will be difficult to read and confusing the reader. So therefore, you should use different types of sentences or a variety of sentences to achieve your goal in writing. So let's check this, and we have two big divisions of sentence types. The first one is a structural division. They are divided through their structures. What structure does the sentence have? So far only we check the subject and a verb, yeah? Subject and predicate. So we'll come more than that. We'll go beyond that when a sentence has much carriage. Okay, so simple sentence. Earlier, if you remember, we were talking about dependent and independent clause. The independent clause can stand by itself, so independent clause is a simple sentence, so it can stand by itself, so it can give a complete sense. It contains or consists of a subject and a verb and expresses a complete thought. So that's a simple sentence. Every one of the sentences we speak day by day, for example, I have some money, or my mother knows you, like that. Simple sentences which have just a verb and the subject, you can take them. So they're simple to recognize also. So let us take this one, the first one, examples. Some people attended the meeting. Some people, subject, attended the meeting. Object. So we have this simple sentence. Boys, subject, like to follow their father's footsteps. Predicate. Simple sentence. Chala and Haptam play golf every afternoon. What's different here? The difference here is and. And is what is different. So we have compound subject. We are talking about two subjects, but it is still a simple sentence. Another type of simple sentence is when you have a subject, and then about the subject you say two things. Alamnesh goes regularly to the library and studies. So the addition of this and does not make this sentence in any other group than the simple sentence. So it's still a simple sentence. Can you write a simple sentence? Like, can you give me information about yourself? For example, my name is Ababa, I'm 20 years old. All these can be simple sentences. Write some. You can stop the video anywhere you like, as I said. Okay, after simple we have compound sentence. The compound sentence is two independent clauses joined by a coordinator. We have these four examples of simple sentences. Now just we have independent clauses. When they are joined by a coordinator, they give us a compound sentence. So we have the coordinators or coordinating conjunctions, as you can see here. There are 7 of them, and let us just create an acronym, which is fanboys. So F stands for A stands for and, N stands for nor, B stands for but, O stands for or, Y stands for yet, S stands for so. So fanboys is an acronym for the 7 coordinators. So if you are using this, you are forming a compound sentence using two simple sentences. Therefore, except for short sentences, coordinators are always preceded by a comma. That means use a comma before a coordinator to form a compound sentence. Let us check these sentences here. How many are they? There are 3 of them. Check them. So the first sentence is, I tried to speak Spanish and my friend used Portuguese. So they are joined with and there is a comma before and. But both of them stand by themselves and they are joined, so they are compound sentences. The same is true with the next one. Read it. They are joined by so. Next, number 3. Joined by for. Yeah, just to distinguish them, we can use bold. Simple sentence, I'm revising them to you. Next, compound sentence. Okay, now we have these. The next one, complex, it begins with the letter C also. To remember it, you can use Next, there is a funny type of sentence also. So complex has an independent clause. Here in the compound, two independent clauses, independent. Still we are going. Simple is independent. Compound is two independent. Only the number of independent clauses increases. However, complex sentence, an independent clause, one independent clause, by one or more dependent clauses. How many? One or more dependent clauses. Then the subordinators are because, since, after, although, when, and relative pronouns, that, who, which. These are used to make just a sentence subordinate clause. So a subordinate clause begins with these. So then there is a subordinate clause which is used to join the sentences. So that is what we have in complex sentence. Let's check the examples here. We have 5 examples. Wow, we are rich now. Okay, good. Now let's just see them. The first sentence begins with when, so that's the dependent part, and dependent clause followed by independent clause. The next sentence has after, so the one beginning with after is the dependent clause, so dependent with an independent at the beginning. So the third one, because they have a test tomorrow, is independent. The fourth one, after they have finished studying, is dependent, and the because one is also dependent. This one after, dependent. And then the fifth one also, dash both, gives us additional information, and that is the relative clause, non-defining defining relative clause. Therefore that is also a dependent clause, and that is categorized under complex sentence. The next interesting part, I told you earlier, is the child of compound sentence and complex sentence. Compound plus complex is equal to compound complex. So this sentence has 2 independent clauses like a compound sentence, and one or more dependent, because the complex sentence has a dependent, like it has the features of these 2 sentence types. Let's check the 2 sentences here.
ሰላም ነው። እንዴት ነው? ሰላም ነው። አንዳንድ ይችላል። በጣም ማለት ደህና ነች። ማለት የራስህ ነው። እንዴት ነው የሚያገኙት? ዩቱብ ላይ የራስህ አሁን ሪቫይዝ ያደረግበት ሜተድ ለየት ያለ ፓወርፖይንት ነው ያዘጋጁት እና ሞስት ከዚህ ላይ ሊወጥ ይችላል። ከዚህ ላይ እንዲያቀርቡት እና ጋሪቱ ሙሉ መያዝ ነው እና ለየት ባለ እና በፓወርፖይንት ነው
So the sentence here, dependent clauses at the beginning because the students work hard, then two independent clauses, they will pass and then they will be happier. The next one, the class was difficult, however the students will pass because they have background knowledge. So which one is the dependent clause? Because they have background knowledge. Functional division of sentences, we have four divisions in here. The first one, declarative sentences, I think you know this before also. It forms a statement. Most of the sentences in the handout, in the books, in fiction, they are declarative. They give you information, they form a state. They state something. They state whether somebody has some money, they state whether somebody comes from Addis Ababa or Redwa and so on. So the first one, I told her to wear the blue skirt. He's giving us information, what he did, what he told her. YouTube is a great source of teaching aid. Yes. So teaching aid. Yeah. This is giving us information so on what YouTube is. Can you write one sentence on? Can you produce one sentence which is declarative? So I think declarative sentences is possible to produce because you give me any information about yourself, like I'm 20 years old or my name is somebody, like that. Interrogative sentences. What about interrogative? Look at these sentences. What do? They form questions. We ask questions when we meet people. What's your name, like that? So we have two sentences given here as examples. I think you check them. Great. I have an activity here. There are 5 different ways of asking questions in English. What are these types? How do we ask questions in English? 5 different types of asking. Can you find out? Or can you discuss among yourselves? And can you tell me, like, A, the first one is this type. B, the second one is this type. C, asking. I'm not saying forming questions, very good, you can form different questions. But asking questions, how can people ask in general terms? How many types of, how do we ask questions? Good, so questions are common in our lives. In the final exam, please guys, you should not miss this part. If you are taking exam, this question is, it ends with question mark. Question mark. So when you are asked to find out what type a sentence is, functionally, then there is a question mark. The third type is imperative. Imperative sentences are very beautiful. Why are they? Because they make a command or request. They give us command, order. That's order, command. And request. You request about something. Advice, instruction. So 4 things. Command, request, advice, instruction. We have some examples here. Look at them. So people are in the first one, requesting. In the second one, ordering. In the third one, it's also maybe an instruction. Maybe a teacher could be telling the students to come at 5 local time. The fourth type of sentence in functional division is used for powerful feelings and emotions. And As there is a punctuation mark at the end of interrogative sentences, here is also there is a punctuation mark. That punctuation mark is exclamation point or exclamation mark. Look at the examples. Feeling and emotion. In the first one, I'm leaving. Who could be saying this? Maybe a wife to her husband when she's divorcing. And I cannot wait to graduate. Maybe third year or fourth year or fifth year graduating class may say this. The next activity you should do before we go on is I just want you to write sentences in the 4 different types under functional. I think you stopped the video and wrote under the structural. Have you done that? Let me believe that you did. Okay, sentence combination. Earlier, just when we checked the type of sentences structurally, we checked how sentences could be combined, like compound sentence is a combination, complex is a combination, and compound complex is a bigger combination. Therefore, how are these sentences combined? I was trying to tell you, like when we were talking about parts of a sentence and the coordinators and the subordinators. So sentence should be combined, and there are 2 types of combination, and for different reasons you combine sentences to achieve different goals. Maybe you are telling reason and result, maybe you are giving additional information and so on, or causality. Coordination, so you are sentences together but sentence that are equal parts. That are equal parts is not, it is not like a child and a father, because a child could depend financially or emotionally on a father. Here they are like, it's like brothers who don't depend on one another. So they are joined with the fanboys for and nor but yet. So that we used when we formed compound sentences. So they are employed to connect sentences, and this sentence combination is coordination, as I said. So the examples that we can see here, Judy doesn't work and she doesn't want a job, are 2 independent clauses or sentences, and they are joined here using coordination, using nor. And the second one, the my mother sentence, there are 2 sentences here which are joined by yet, which shows negation. Nor also is negation, but 2 negative sentences combined. Can you write any? If you have time, you can write with the 7. You coordinate 2 ideas, 2 related ideas, related in different ways, and try how, whether it is simple or difficult to you, and then practice more with your partners. Subordination. What is subordination? What is a subordinate? Can you check a dictionary, whether it is English Amharic or English dictionary, monolingual dictionary? What does the word subordinate means? Then we'll come to what subordinate clause is in English, a dependent clause. You combine sentences which are just like a father and a son, one depending on the other. One is more important than the other. One sentence is subordinated. Sub means under or below the other. So you use subordinating conjunctions like when, although, if, before, like we saw earlier, to link the sentences. We have 2 examples here where we joined sentences. We use although to join the first ones by making one of the sentences subordinate, although I'm a senior. In the second one, we use before by showing time, before I go to the meeting. So this way you can join subordinating, using subordinating conjunctions, and this method is called subordination. As we saw in the complex sentence division, this sentence combination is very important. Earlier when we started the course or the lesson, I said that this course is quite different from the one we took years back when I was fresh at university or second year at university. Therefore, this part is recognizing and correcting sentence errors or faults. So when I was a student, this part was not included, you know. Just we started with paragraph and essay format. And when I came to Debre Birhan University at that time, everybody was talking about sentence errors and I didn't know what they were. And I didn't just want to teach this course because they are talking something different from what we learned. Later, afterwards, I learned what this is, and I found out that it's very important to write effective paragraphs. So when you write a paragraph, you can write a paragraph on like your heroes or on high school life. But what about the sentences? Are they good? You know grammar, but knowing even grammar or knowing vocabulary, you may confuse the reader. Therefore, there are sentence faults or errors. These are just more than mistake. You just commit them without knowing. Therefore, maybe you can revise them. You should have a knowledge of the errors, and if you are rereading, you can correct it, or you can check some materials. Therefore, your assignment will be clear, and it cannot confuse the teacher. If you are also professional writers, you can be effective when you write any motivational letter or any material. Then you can be well read or appreciated, or you can pass any exam. Do not forget in the previous parts to write your own examples for the ones given. So now let's go to 1.5. This part is interesting, and I learned it once after I became a teacher. So, you know, they should be avoided by any possible means. Sentence errors are not needed. They should be avoid them. Try to avoid sentence errors. Then italicize this. Avoid sentence errors, because they hamper understanding and they convey an unintended meaning. I said because they hamper understanding and they convey unintended meaning. And revise your writing, as I said earlier, for these errors before submitting your assignment, project, or essay. We'll learn the types of errors down below. Sentence fragment. What's fragment? What do you know the English word fragment? I think you do. What do you mean when you say fragment? Something like, if it is fragmented, maybe one part is here, another part is here, like the full part is not at a certain place, like small pieces here, there. So it's an incomplete sentence when we come to sentence level writing, lacking a verb, and this is a subject. I think it's not a sentence. Because I was in a hurry earlier this morning when I was typing. So it could lack a verb or a subject or a complement, and it can be punctuated like a sentence. So that is an error. Now look at the examples given here, and I'll explain. So what do you feel about these sentence fragments? Number one, as you can see, until I hear from you, full stop. Is it a sentence? No. By mistake, they put full stop here. Therefore, it is a fragment. Something that is not a complete sentence, but that by error you put full stop and you consider it as a sentence. So that is a fragment. How can we correct this? This type of fragment is dependent word fragment, and the dependent word is here until. So we should combine it with another clause to make a sentence. So therefore we added I won't leave the house, and then it can be corrected. So in final exams you will be asked, for example, in mid exams in writing test, you can be asked to identify what type of error this is. You say fragment. You may not say dependent word or whatever, but fragment. Then how can we correct it? You correct it by adding a clause or a sentence. Trying to find a dog. What about this part? It is ing fragment, because it's the ing part that makes it dependent. Therefore, this cannot stand by itself. You should add some other clause. Maybe they made this error when they separated from the main clause. Ellen walked over the neighborhood trying to find her dog. Number 3. So, add a detail fragment, such as, for example, including, like you add some detail, such as, so add a detail fragment. Therefore, such as bread and spaghetti. What about it? Where is the verb? Therefore, it's a fragment, and there is the correction. Number 4. But hated thank you letters. This missing subject. Who hated? Is it Mark? Is it Andrew? Or is it Bakala? Just you don't know. Therefore, Alicia. It's about Alicia, but even if we put Alicia, it's not complete. Therefore, we rewrite it. Alicia loved getting wedding presents, but hated writing thank you letters. So it's corrected like this. Can you check your writing, like a paragraph, if you have in hand? Can you check your writing and correct? Check whether there is any fragment in your writing. If possible, you can stop the video at any time and check. Let's go to the next type, run-on. You know, when we have two complete thoughts run together or join together with no adequate sign, two sentences, they are two sentences, but they are joined together with no adequate mark between them to mark the break, then that is called run-on. So some run-ons have no punctuation at all, just they are mixed together, no punctuation to mark the break. They are called fused sentences because the sentences are fused together. So example number 1 is there are 3 public libraries in Debre Birhan. One of them is Ras Ababa Library. I think you can see that there are 2 sentences here, but there is no punctuation mark to mark the break. They are fused together. When you correct them, they are like this. You can break them into 2, full stop, and the next sentence begins with the capital letter, or you can join them. You can use a coordinator like and, or you can make one of the clauses subordinate if you like. Other run-ons known as comma splices. Comma is used to connect or splice together to complete those. In this one, there are two complete those, and there is a comma in the middle. However, it is not possible to separate two independent clauses with a comma. There should be a stronger connection. Look at this sentence. There are not two. Just there is a comma between them, and it's not correct, yeah? So how can we correct it? We have corrected by adding a coordinator, which is and. So you should avoid run-ons when you write sentences. The two types of run-ons are comma splices and fused sentences, but you should write like run-on if you are asked in exams. The third one is about ambiguous pronoun reference. You know, the issue of pronouns is very complicated because there are personal pronouns. Personal pronouns by themselves have different items like subject case, object case, possessive case, like that. And there are different other types of pronouns, but here we are focusing more on the personal pronouns. But the pronoun that you write should clearly and unmistakably refer to one particular noun that we call antecedent, or that it referred back to. So let's see this sentence. After buying some dishes, she put them in the drawer. Okay, this is correct. Unfortunately, so dishes, them, let me make it in italic, it refers to dishes. Unfortunately, it's very easy to create a sentence that uses pronoun without a clear and unmistakable noun antecedent. So the antecedent is dishes here. Pronoun is them. So we can just have the error of ambiguous pronoun reference where the pronoun doesn't refer clearly back to one noun. After putting the dishes in the drawer, she sold it. Okay, or like, let's make like this. Or let's change this one. After buying a dish, she put it in the drawer instead of committing another error. After buying a dish, she put it in the drawer. Clear. Now, after putting the dish in the drawer, she sold it. After putting the dish in the drawer, yeah, singular. Then it, what does it refer back to? It is the pronoun, yeah? The pronoun it refers back, could refer back to one thing. It could refer back to the drawer, or it could refer back to the dish. So we should distinguish which one it refers back to. It does not have a clear antecedent. Reader cannot for sure know whether she sold the dish or the drawer. So there is faulty pronoun reference. It has two antecedents, and it confuses the reader, and it obscures the intended meaning. How can we correct it then? After putting the dish in the drawer, she sold the drawer. Or either we say she sold the drawer, or we say she sold the dish. So therefore, it is corrected now. We correct it by using one of the nouns we correct it. Let's take another example with lesser explanation. Can you read this sentence and what do you feel about it? What do you feel about this sentence? Let me italicize it. Do you feel good with this sentence? No error, or is there any error? There is an error. This sentence is faulty. And the fault is ambiguous pronoun reference. or faulty pronoun reference. So take the radio out of the car and fix it. Does she fix the radio or the car? It's not clear. Correction, take the radio out of the car and fix the car. Just, it is the car. We repeat, we take one of the nouns instead of using a pronoun. Faulty, I mean, capitalize it. Next is misplaced modifier. When I explain this in the classroom, I just put one of the chairs on the table, and I tell them, what's wrong here? The students will say, teacher, the chair is on the table. It's not the position. It should be on the ground. Yes, that's what I want to say. Modifiers should be at the right place, like the table or the chair is. So a modifier is a word, phrase, or clause that's improperly separated from the word it modifies or describes. There is a word it modifies or describes, so the modifier should be next to it. Let's see the example here. On her way home, she found a gold man's watch. What do you feel about this sentence? Do you feel it is good? Revise it. The problem, the word that is in the wrong place, where the misplaced modifier is. The word gold. The word gold gives information not about man. Gold man, there is no gold man. We are not made of gold. We are made of flesh and bones. Yeah? Therefore, there is gold something. What is that? It is gold watch. Huh? So we move the word gold to the proper place. Then the error is corrected. Do not forget, for examinations, you should write error type and then correct. Based on the instruction. Maybe if they say correct only, you correct. If they say put error type only, you put error type only. Learning instructions is very vital, If they say underline, you underline. If they say don't do anything, you don't do anything. If they say write or explain, you do. So knowing what the teacher wants or what the instruction is more, sometimes half part of the exam. Because if you are writing the wrong answer, you lose. You are lost. Number 2. What's the problem here? It could be funny, yeah? The sentence is funny. Torn is the misplaced word. We place it correctly, so we place it next to torn book. Because a book is torn, not students. Students cannot be torn. Let's go to the next type of modifier. This is also a modifier, like misplaced modifier is a modifier error, but you don't correct it by moving the modifier word, phrase, or clause to a different location. So this is not clearly or logically related to the word it modifies. You cannot just move it and correct it and you are done. No. You know what? I tell my students in the class that I hold the duster like very loosely, and I tell them, what's wrong with my duster? You just held it loosely. The same is true with dangling modifier. It's not properly linked. It's not well held. It's not attached to the noun it modifies. Therefore, dangling modifier error. So example, what about this? Let's see. Check it and check the answer also. Even check the question, check the answer. Check the error, check the answer, and then you should learn some pattern. 2 of the questions, 2 minutes. So now I think you get some pattern. The wrangling modifier phrase, as you can see it, the underlined one in the first part, looking towards the west, a funnel-shaped cloud. Can clouds look towards the west? No, there should be something else. That something else is not given here, so you should bring it just and find your own. Who do you think looks towards the west? Can cars look towards the west? Buildings? No, just people looking. So the correction gives us the one who looks towards the west just immediately to the modifier. Looking towards the west is the modifier, then we put I. Now it's corrected. Next, when in 9 years old, my mother. Here is also a problem. Yeah? When 9 years old is the modifier and it is in the, it's not well connected to the word it modifies. My mother, can she join medical school when she is 9? I doubt it. So therefore, it must be another person who is 9. So who is it? When I was 9 years old, we corrected. Now it's corrected. Let's go to the faulty parallelism part. When there are non-parallel constructions in a sentence, there is faulty parallelism or an error in parallelism. That is, for example, you can see I took this example from College Writing Skills of Lamro Gabramara, and you can get more examples on sentence level and phrase, clause, and paragraph essay level examples from that book I indicated at the beginning. And if you need more examples, more explanations, you can go to the internet, Google, find the PDF materials and so on. What about this sentence? What's the problem? What makes it non-parallel? The problem is here. Yeah? Let me make it italic. When I remove it, the corrected version becomes like this. What about faulty agreement? Therefore, faulty agreement here, there is, you know, the word agree. If things do not agree in sentence writing in language, there is a problem, you know. There should be a good flow of ideas and agreement. So if the verb does not agree with the subject, the pronoun with antecedent, as we said earlier under the faulty pronoun reference, or the subject, the number of the subject and the verb, whether that is plural, and it should agree with the verb. When this agreement is not well maintained, what happens? Faulty agreement problem happens, occurs. There are examples we have here. Let's check number 1. What's the problem? Yeah, it's knows, yeah? Because, you know, when it is the teacher and the students, they are plural, therefore, and his students, they are plural, and therefore you add, you don't add s to the main verb. You add s to the main verb when it is third person singular only in the present simple. Therefore, s is omitted in the correction. Now this is a pronoun problem. Put them. For the book, we don't say put them. Therefore, the correction is for books. Or we can make it book and put it in the drawer. Let's go to shift in point of view. I think we are coming towards the end. You know, they have a relationship, faulty agreement, faulty shifting point of view have relationship. This also a subject, person, number, tense, mood, voice problem. Let's see some examples where they shift. She scored a good result, but her brother was suspended from school. Let's correct it. What's the problem first? The problem is she scored a good result is in the active voice. but her brother was suspended from school is in the passive voice. In a single sentence, we should not write like this. So the solution is making both of them either in the passive or in the active. The correction we made here is both in the active. The school, she scored a good result, active, but the school suspended her brother, active again. Number 2. This is a tense problem. We got our names registered and pay the bill. Registered, paid. Oh yes, we should celebrate now because we are done with unit 1. It's hard and sometimes challenging. I make this let me bring a new page and you will have time to revise or recap. Can you think of what we learned? Please think of what we learned. Close sentence. Basic writing skills. If you are a student, you should score an A. You must score an A. If you are a writer, you should write very impressive pieces to the newspaper or to whomsoever you write. Can I put this back? I think I can. Please write your comment on way of teaching. Is the student involved? Or is it? I said it's a lecture and that's why I think I said it's a lecture and you are, but I told you to stop anywhere and keep writing. If you do not write, maybe this could be worthless. Because it is a skill, you know, you should learn how to write, not just to learn. Yeah, it's impressive. You know, just we finished it because I gave only a few examples. If I gave a number of examples, it would take a long while. I think you can just write your own examples for the ones which are convenient and find others for the others from the internet or from handouts. And if you are from outside of Ethiopia, I think you'll find my accent difficult, but I think you just got used to my accent now. Unit 2 paragraph writing. How are you at paragraph writing? In Ethiopia, when I asked most of the students if they wrote any paragraph at school level, they say they don't write, you know, because the focus is on the grammar part, on just some of the passages. That could be the reason, you know, but we should write paragraphs and essays. That's expected, you know. Okay. Let me explain what the parts of a paragraph are. What do you know about a paragraph? What ideas can you give us before I do? What ideas? What things does a paragraph consist of? Okay, so have you tried? Thank you. Good job. One or more sentences. There are cases where one sentence can be a paragraph. More sentences is obvious, but it should be a single thought. It should be on a single idea. And a paragraph is most often more than one sentence. No more than one idea, sentences related to the main idea should be there, and it should develop a single theme or idea. That single idea is commonly stated in the sentence that we call topic sentence, which has several different functions. It substitutes or supports the essay thesis statement. If we are talking about a paragraph in a thesis, just it supports the thesis statement because it is giving one detail to the essay. It unifies the content of the paragraph and directs the order of the sentence just by giving you the main idea of the essay. The paragraph, it directs the direction of the essay. The paragraph, the order of sentences, the order of sentences, and how the paragraph will discuss it. So it may also point out your stand. Just readers look for the first few sentences to determine the subject and perspective of the paragraph. So you put the topic sentence at the very beginning of your paragraph. The first sentence or one of the first sentences, the first few sentences. You could be expected to put a sentence before the topic sentence when it is in the middle of an essay, because that helps to link the current sentence paragraph with the previous one by providing background information and linkage. Then after you put the topic sentence and which shows us the stand you have, the direction you go, then you just put the support, which is specific evidence that supports your main point. There are details and sub-details that support the topic sentence, and it depends on how the writer explains his idea, the nature of the message, and the kind of audience the writer has in mind. Concluding sentence comes at the end, as the name indicates, and it restates the topic sentence and leaves the reader with something to think about. So that is from the topic sentence to the support, then to the conclusion. That is the parts of the paragraph. You should take a number of paragraphs to just learn better about the parts. Just theoretical discussion by itself is good, but it cannot help you acquaint the concept fully. It cannot help you to be acquainted with the concept fully. What about the characteristics? Okay, you have the parts, you have all the parts, and that's a paragraph, but is it effective? You have a topic sentence, you have the details, you have conclusion. Is it effective? That's another requirement. That's why we have it in a separate subsection. If your paragraph is effective, it has the following 5 characteristics that you should apply to achieve a good result in convincing, in describing, in getting good mark, and so on. Unity. Earlier we said your paragraph should be on a single point and you should stick to that. You should not be wobbling to this, that ideas, only that single idea. Then your paragraph will have unity. Relate all the points to the main point, and then the paragraph will be unified. This is one of the major parts of effectiveness of the paragraph. Coherence or organization is more of psychological, and we say, oh, this paragraph is coherent, I like it. But to the reader it could be psychological, but to the writer it is more of scientific. Organize and connect the specific evidence, then coherence comes. How do you logically develop your idea, then that's organization. Just in the occurrence of events, size, importance, category of noise, you just organize in a logical way. If you are describing this room, for example, you can describe it from the gate to the bedroom like that, but in this case a library, and to the small room we have in the background. So if you are describing time, for example, you describe, for example, the chronological order. For example, if you are talking about your life, you can tell us where you were born, where you went to KG, where you did primary, and so on. What about support? Support is about the specific evidence you give to support your point. Then your paper will have support. If you say, for example, that migration, unless you support your point, nobody will trust it, or nobody will get convinced. Therefore, you should support it with ample specific evidence. To that, you may need to research the topic. What about variety? We are still going back to sentence level, because we did that sentence level writing, clause level, phrase level, to achieve a very good writing. Our paragraph should contain various types of sentences, and if you use, for example, simple sentence, as I said earlier, your paragraph will sound monotonous, and you may not achieve the success you aspire. Variety is the spice of life. Therefore, do not use simple sentence only, subject, verb, subject, object. No, just use more than that to achieve the beauty of the sentence. Simple, compound, complex, compound, complex. From the structure, from the functional, you can use interrogative, imperative, exclamatory, declarative. You can start your sentence or paragraph with a question. Adequacy. Why is it red? Oh, really? Okay, thank you. It is E. It's not E, it is A. Adequacy. So your paragraph should satisfy the purpose it is intended to. If it is to persuade, it should persuade. If it is to describe, it should describe. If it is to narrate, it should narrate. That's called adequate. Adequately answers the essay question, or it adequately achieves the objective set. Types of paragraph. Expository. You are informed, or something is explained to you in an expository type of paragraph. Your handout could be expository. If it is discussing soil, or if it is discussing personal hygiene, then most of the handout, most of the scientific papers are expository. It tells you the steps and explains the subject it informs. If you write about how to make Ethiopian coffee, or how to make Japanese tea, then it is expository. Argumentative or persuasive is here. You argue a certain point on whether college students should pay tuition or not. Then it proves your beliefs about something, and it's called argumentative. You can get more examples of these types. I didn't just support it with examples, so please go to books or internet and find as many sentence paragraph types as possible. The descriptive tells you what something looks, sounds, smells, feels, tastes like. Describing a room, describing how the rose smells, describing how goat meat tastes. Narrative, it tells you about something that happened, stories or any personal experience, imaginary stories or something historical. That's called narrative. Literature, fiction is narrative. Let's do exercises. Please read this example paragraph for a while. Okay, so let's try these questions. Try these 5 questions. Try to answer them. Let me give you 2 more minutes. Okay. What about the first sentence? What's the main idea of the paragraph? What is your answer? The main idea of the paragraph, number 1 and number 3. What do you think about the first line of the paragraph? These two are the same questions. The first line of the paragraph tells us that yellow spotted lizards are dearly threat to all humans at Camp Green Lake. So these two are the question number 1 and 3 are the same. So the first sentence is the main idea of the paragraph. And what's the concluding sentence? As you can see, the concluding sentence is the last one, with this one exception: meeting a yellow spotted lizard at Green Lake meant certain death. Spotted lizard. So that is the concluding sentence. Do all sentences support the main idea of the paragraph? My answer is yes, it supports the main. It is on one idea. It's one idea. Having said the first main point, second main point, you can get from the writing. And about the next activity, let me make this capitalized. Which is, let's go to exercise 2. In exercise 2, you are given sentence 2 paragraphs, and look at the instruction. So which one makes sense? The first or the second one? The first one makes sense. It makes a good paragraph. The second one does not make a good paragraph. I think you are done with reading, yeah? You should finish. I will say some ideas about paragraph level writing before I move on to the next part. We have also a worksheet at the end, and we'll do that. Here there is so on paragraph level writing, there may be many things that I did not cover. Paragraph is a very wide area. If you check any writing material like I'm doing now, you should show the students paragraph with many examples, with many issues, cases, and then they write their own paragraphs. You mark them. You should have a small size of class, and then the students can correct their own writing. They can peer correct. One student can help the other, and so on. Therefore, you can achieve a certain like a good goal of writing. But telling about what a paragraph is, this information, we are burdened with information about writing, about English, about chemistry. Practice is the basic thing in language learning. In writing, you practice by writing. Therefore, practice in writing the different types of paragraph, and also write any paragraph and check the parts, and then check the characteristics. Give it to a partner. As I told you at the beginning, when I was a student, we wrote a number of paragraphs. There were a number of paragraph samples we took, and that course made us better learners. Another thing that I should remind myself of is that we took other course like intermediate writing skill. That course was given by Mr. V.K. Sharma of Addis Ababa University, who taught for 5 decades in Ethiopia. And he was a very intelligent man in this regard, and he marked our paper. He was punctual. Everybody who studied at Addis Ababa knows him, and he made us really capable of writing. Spelling, mechanics, just punctuation, word usage, everything. Even in the class, you don't use any local language. It's English, and our English was improving, both spoken and written. And also our paragraphs and essays were good because we had a good tutor who was diligent. And if you have a teacher like him, advanced writing, certain teacher who was teacher Kananisa gave me that course. Advanced writing had like book review and bigger things, writing summaries, and it was advanced, really advanced. And our teacher gave us individual work, group work, and that helped us improve a lot. And if you have such teachers, you can improve. And another course which was given to me by teacher Antana was a very interesting one. That was business communication. Even if it was writing letters, writing memos, and so on, it just gave us the idea on how our writing should be simple, understandable, catchy, and so on. So it was business writing. So there are English for specific purposes, writing for specific purposes. However you say, whatever purpose you use this writing for, you should be first capable of writing effective paragraphs. Then you can use it for different purposes. and try to go to the internet or anywhere and find materials that can help you improve your paragraph level writing. And if your paragraph level writing is really weak, you should go back to your sentence level, whether your sentence level writing is good or not. Check that. Phrases, clauses, have just a good working vocabulary. When you write, just don't use a word redundantly, and don't use a certain conjunction time and again. Don't you just have a certain predictable pattern of sentences, because the mind is bored. I know you could be bored by the way of presentation here I have. How do you feel? You can just write it in the comments. I really don't know whether how many people read this material, access this video, use it for their writing. How is our culture of using such open resources? If you really use this input, you may have much more mastery of writing than this presents. But if you use this input, you have a first phase. The first phase of writing, you have that. Then you can read other advanced materials. You can use some online editors. You can go to your partners who are better writers. But just let us just use this paragraph level writing. Sometimes I give the class a chance to write the class. By the class I mean just not only at the university or anywhere. I tell them to write a sentence, and from the class you may not get like somebody who writes a correct sentence, an accurate one. If you say like write a sentence consisting of 10 words, there is some error, word usage, tense, any grammar issue or something. So just you should craft your sentences very carefully, then your paragraphs will be impressive. When the sentences are joined with other sentences, sentence after sentence, then paragraph, then it will be problematic. It just the devils are in the details. When I write, I find it very hard. If I check it the next day, the other day. Let's go to essay writing anyway. Writing essays. Please read this part for 2 minutes. So as you can see, essay writing, I try to consider the 5-paragraph essay in English. The introduction part is the most important part, and it leaves a lasting impression on the reader, and therefore to this effect it should include the following. The first sentence catches the attention of the reader, and it's called the hook. And can you try to write a hook on a certain topic? Find a topic and write a hook that catches the attention of the reader. it should be something that catches the attention of your reader, and it helps you make your paragraph, your essay interesting. Your essay is beginning interesting, thought-provoking. I will tell you a certain hook I remember from a certain essay about China. There was an essay written on capital punishment in China, and the hook starts by the number of people who are killed due to death sentence in China is equal to the residents of this town. You know, this catches everybody's attention. How could it be equal to the population of this town? Just a hook is a sentence that catches the attention of the reader. The first sentence, the very first sentence. Can you think of any topic to write an essay and then craft a hook, a sentence? Let me tell you my example. I wrote an essay a while back, and let me just figure out how to give it a hook. Ethiopia should not keep her working population idle. This is my hook. It's about higher education and paying tuition fee, and the essay was on the student paying tuition so that they could work hard and the nation gets relief. Write your own. 1 minute. Okay, once you have written the hook, the next thing is general statements regarding the topic. You just give us general statements regarding the main ideas that the essay treats. Just not the specific details, but the main ideas. For example, you can take the ideas from the 3 body paragraphs. The thesis is then after hook, general statement, some 3 sentences, then thesis. What did I say about the main idea of a paragraph? Which sentence carries the main idea of the paragraph? What is the name of that sentence? Do you remember? Okay, yeah, it's a topic sentence. At essay level, it is different. The first part of the essay, the first paragraph of the essay consists of the hook, general statements, and by the end, it's an inverted pyramid, and by the tip of the pyramid, it carries the thesis, which is the most significant statement in your essay. It's 1 sentence, and this is the last sentence in the introduction, a complete sentence, narrow enough to discuss what you are asked to. And you should be able to write some 2-3 points as a body paragraph. It should not be that narrow, but so that is the thesis. It carries the main idea of the essay. What about the body of the essay? Now let's talk about the body of the essay. Just the body of the essay is, as you can see, it gives support to your thesis statement. Body is not just one paragraph, it is 3 paragraphs, 2 to 3 paragraphs, but it can have several body paragraphs. Just the normal requirement of a paragraph is there. They begin with a topic sentence or a sentence that links them with the previous paragraph. Then there are subpoints. Just the paragraph is a subpoint of the thesis. One subpoint in one paragraph, next subpoint in the second paragraph, next. Put clear, specific details to strengthen the argument of your paper. Just topic sentence supported well. Use transitions in your examples. Generally speaking, the body paragraphs are larger and broader than the introduction or the conclusion because the main idea lies there. Body paragraphs should be linked to one another. Then your paper can be smooth and coherent. Not only connection between sentences, there is also connection between paragraphs. You should show that you are going from paragraph 3 to 4 and there should be a relationship or like another slightly different idea or another point that goes with this or anything, any way you can join them. So body paragraphs support the thesis and they are powerful. Concluding, your thesis, which came at the end of the first introductory paragraph, comes here at the beginning of the conclusion. But that thesis is no word for word. It's a paraphrase, or it's just given in other words. Then, general statements, as we did in the middle of the introductory paragraph. Those main points you introduced should also be used here too. Recap. Essays could be just they could vary from type to type, whether descriptive, exposition, narrative. You just check what way you should write. You should check examples. There are like Grenko writing skills. There are big books with many examples. These donated books in Ethiopia give you very many examples of essays. Transitions. Now let's go transitions. So in paragraph we say there is transition. In essay, even the paragraphs could begin with a transition. There may be even a transitional paragraph. I remember something once. There was a final exam and the teacher brought a scrambled paragraph, scrambled sentences, and the instruction was to reorder those to make a coherent paragraph. However, the paragraph began with the word "for example." Nobody would make that at the beginning, and many people lost. What was the reason? That paragraph, when we checked later, was brought from the middle of an essay. In the middle of an essay, there could be like the third, the fourth paragraph beginning with a transition word because it is linking with the previous one. So there is paragraph to paragraph linkage also. the types of paragraph are the same as the types of essays. We have 4 of them, and I advise you to practice writing each type, because it is that way only you can improve your writing skills. Descriptive, expository, I explained earlier under the paragraph part. Narrative, persuasive. So far we have been saying transitional words, coordinating conjunction, subordinating conjunction. But what are they? We categorized them under, from a certain internet material I took, they are categorized under 9 categories that you can see here. So they are given here. The transitional words that are used to give further information are here. Please check them. Say them loud. You can say them loud. Additionally, in addition, and again, like that. Loud. Say them loud. Which ones do you use? Which ones don't you use? Which one is your favorite? Don't you please use redundantly. Don't you use them redundantly. You should study a number of them, different ones, and use a variety. From the in, equally, one reason, more, secondly, along with, as well, finally, furthermore, further, likewise, like that. Check this part also. You can take notes if you like. If you want them for your writing, you can take notes. Additional information can be provided with this, not just putting sentence after sentence. Some idea that I should share with you is like that just crossed my mind now. It is you may want to check whether I'm a good writer or not, but you can really judge. I will correct my writing. I'll correct my writing. I will try to improve my writing based on the recommendation you may give me. I have a blog where I have many articles or paragraphs or essays. It is mezemirEthiopia.blogspot.com. Here you can check my writing. You know, if I revise it with this in mind, I think there may be many errors. So please revise the words. Okay, now let us check just please take note of this, and I should remind you that you should I advise you to follow me, to subscribe to my YouTube channel, to press the bell icon, to comment, encourage me, and also if I confuse you, you write any idea, and you should contribute also. If you have any ideas, just start your own YouTube channel and air your views. I just try to explain how YouTube channel can be started and run. So there is a video I made on that. I made videos on different things like on effectiveness. I did a summary of a book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. That can be accessed on my YouTube channel, the same channel that you are watching now. Please keep following what I am writing, and go to my blog. As you can see, I have social media. And if I just did an introduction, at the introduction, did I tell you that I own a library in Debre Birhan? In Debre Birhan, Ethiopia, I own a library which is called Rasa Babaragai Library. I'm the founder and a manager, and the library gives close or more than 70% of service free of charge. As I am a social entrepreneur, what I do is giving people access to books and reading space for free. Readers just pay when they borrow books, and the library runs many discussion nights a week, just a discussion night a week, and we have some 165 of them over the last 3 years. Now this YouTube channel is started to air my views regarding the library or other social issues, my teaching career, and so on. So I did a summary of the course, basic writing skills or sophomore English, just to give you an idea of what writing is and what I feel. And I came up with my notes from the university lesson I gave, and this step by itself gave me a lesson. You know why? Earlier teachers at university were called, like, they for decades they carry similar material. There is a joke, you know, they carry yellow pages, yellow sheets of paper, and they teach using those, and they don't update them. I was about to be like them if I didn't revise the material. As such and changed it into a soft copy, and it is just this step that helped me improve my course. Next year I think I will come up with a better material, because material preparation can also help the teacher, not only the student. Okay, now let's go to the next one. Please read this one. Directional change. Conjunctions that you can use transitional words for directional change. Say them. Okay, let's go to next page. Oh, I didn't insert any page number. It is good to insert page number so that we can know where we are. We're on page 16. We're about to finish. Now let us go to page 17. Okay. Thank you. It's good to have a student in the class. Okay, let us read the words here. Can you read it? Okay. Okay, though rather, but well, in the meantime. Another category, sequence and order. I'll give you 2 minutes to read this part. Did you read the first part? I think you did. Please read, only 1 minute I'll give you. 1 minute, okay. Now let's go to the next part. Explanation and clarification or clarification. Which one do you use? Which one are you familiar with? If they are new, you can check a dictionary. Emphasis. You can use these transitional words for emphasis, whether paragraph or an essay. They are very helpful. You can link the sentences and paragraphs. 1 minute to finish it. Which one are new? Which one is new? I think they are common, from even grade 4, like outside, inside, up, down, south, across, toward, adjacent, along, guys. You know, you should use a number of these, because if you are using only one of them, it will be monotonous, as I said last time. What about to compare and contrast? To compare and contrast, we can use these similarly, also like, in the same way as, and, or, more than, different than, different from, work, read them fast. summary and conclusion, when you try to wind up your paragraph, they are good, useful rather. Which word do you use to summarize most often? Or is there anything left out? The next part is time. Check these. I'm sure you need them time and again. During, while, afterwards, first, second, meanwhile, subsequent. Okay, now we are moving on to another part, but before we move on to another part, how do you feel about these transitions which we can use for paragraph and essay writing? And do you think another part is omitted in paragraph and essay writing, particularly in essay writing? I did not bring you any samples, that is one problem, but try to find the samples. As I did at the end of the paragraph part, let me say something about the essay. Essay is a very important part. Even in some international tests, you just need an essay writing capacity. When you join some universities, you'll be asked to write essays. So essays are very important. If you are writing any longer essay for a newspaper or for any target audience, you will be judged whether you are a good user of English or not. So your writing, as you know, is what makes you wanted or rejected by people. So therefore, you need a very good essay writing skill, and that essay writing skill develops not only because I say that it is written this way, or not only because you have an intelligent teacher out there, but because you write hundreds of essays and one day you come up with an excellent one. Even the experienced writers write time and again, hundreds of times. They are rejected by publishers, and it is just after many years of toiling, writing, that succeed. Therefore, you have to try a lot. Try to write essays. I wrote on many issues like Indian teachers in Ethiopia. Ethiopia should charge for higher education. 6 hours at Mandida. The Toto Observatory, you can find them on the blog I mentioned earlier. About the Toto Observatory, I wrote like a trip worth the effort. It was 4 years ago that I wrote it, and I don't even forget them. I write on different issues, paragraphs and essays. Therefore, please check those out and write your own. Write what you remember about your elementary school life, about your KG life, about your church life, about any emotional encounter, whether you felt happy because you met somebody, whether you felt bad, whether you fought with somebody, whether you did some weightlifting, whether you ate any type of cultural food. So write a paragraph or an essay about that. Try to publish it. Now publishing is possible. You can publish it on YouTube, on Facebook. Then after you can, if you write a number of them, that can be a book, and you can publish them in on Amazon. On Amazon at Create Space, you can publish a book, and then you can sell worldwide without paying a penny. So there are essay writing competitions. There are short story writing competitions. You can take part. But the main requirement first is you should be practicing. If you practice, then everybody wants you and everybody conspires to help you. Now, worksheet is here. We did a number of lessons on the paragraph part. Okay, not really. 21. Let me just go back. Yeah. Yeah, worksheet. If you are a university student taking this course, this may help you to prepare yourselves for the exams and to check whether how you are writing, how you are good at writing. Okay, so the worksheet is on the parts that we covered so far. On the paragraph part, I did not include one part like putting transitional words on different spots. That may be one thing required, because you will be judged for knowing which transitional word goes which place, like with time, directional change, conclusion, like a contrast. You should know which to put, which should be put which place. But all other things are included. I will not tell you the answer, just let us check. You will see and do yourselves. So the instruction here is, this phrase part is, you are asked to put the phrases in the correct place. We are not asking you what type they are, but to put them in the correct place. The objective here is, if you put them in the correct place, then you will know how to use them, then you will learn what type they are gradually. They are of different types. What do we put at the end? What is the answer for the fourth blank space, for example? Are you sure? Yes, by coincidence, the fourth phrase is at the fourth place. Yeah, correct. I think you know the answer for the others as well. You answer correctly if you attended properly. Closes. Please do this. Let me give you 4 minutes. Because it is not mathematics, I give you 4 minutes only. Okay, what about it? What type are the clauses? One minute to go. 1 minute to go. What is the sixth questions underlined part? What type of clause is that? Try again, try again, try again. Yes, it is adverbial clause. Now this part 2 minutes because it is no mathematics. Okay, I will not do the difficult question. Let me do the simple one. Number 10 is simpler. Yeah? Because as soon as we can is the dependent. Can you underline that? Underline. Okay, now parts of a sentence. Direction 4, part 3. Now you write the predicate. Do you remember predicate? Earlier we learned subject and predicate. Predicate, again 2 minutes. 2 minutes to finish this. You can finish in 1 minute if possible. Predicate. You know, just because I'm the teacher, I'm doing the simple question again. Which one should I do now? The predicate. We're respectful of older people is the predicate of the 11th question. Now, 3 minutes for this. Write the subject. Time is up. Let me do the subject of the 15th question. The mathematics professor, or the professor of mathematics. That is the subject. You know, when you write subjects, write like this. Long subjects may give ideas. That is one thing. I don't mean that this is a difficult part for writing. Now, what type are the sentences structurally and functionally? We'll do these 3 questions and it may take us 5 minutes. Structurally first, functionally. Then I'll tell you the answer one of them. Try to finish. Keep doing. Structurally, what are they? Functionally, what are they? Are you done? I think you are. Let me think you are. Number 16. Let me do number 18. That is complex. Inform the students that we have a tutorial class is an independent sentence, and after the other teacher finishes teaching, and we said one dependent, one independent joined with a subordinator, like after is complex sentence is complex one. Functionally, so structurally complex, functionally it is, what is it? Imperative, because he's instructing or ordering the student, yeah? Cool. Now we come to the last part of unit 1, the part which most students consider difficult. But it is simple. 7 questions telling the sentence error and correcting. Telling the sentence error type and correcting. 7 minutes I will give you, and then I will do all of them, because you should learn. Students say this is difficult, teachers, so I will do just 8 minutes. 4 minutes to go. Without any further ado, let's go to the answers. Yeah, we should. We must. We have to. Okay, number 19. What is this error? The error is shifting point of view. Because the first one is the first part of the sentence before end is statement, but the second part question. We cannot do like that. We cannot do like declarative plus imperative in one sentence. So it is shifting point of view. This is the type of error. When we correct it, they informed me about the factory and they will give me a proposal. We can make both in statement form or both in question form is also possible. The next one, it is a faulty pronoun reference. He showed them the hotels and its surroundings because it refers back to hotels and hotels is plural, so faulty pronoun reference. Therefore, when we correct it, you showed them the hotels and their surroundings, or you show them the hotel and its surroundings. If it is singular, singular pronoun. Pronoun and its antecedent should agree, as we said earlier. Number 21, walking into the room, the aroma was interesting. This dangling modifier, walking into the room, is dangling because who is walking into the room? We don't know. So somebody could be walking into the room. Could be me. So walking into the room, I found the aroma interesting. So who is walking into the room? I. Number 22 is you gave broken me the stool last night. So broken me does not make sense. Is it's you gave broken me the stool last night. It's not shifting. It is misplaced modifier. You give me the broken stool. You give me the broken stool. It is misplaced modifier. It is misplaced modifier. And then the correction is you gave me the broken stool, because the stool can be broken. Last night. 23, such as attending lectures and working hard at the library. It is not complete, therefore because of this dependent word such as or added detail, yeah, such as makes it dependent, therefore it is a fragment. We say this added detail, attending lectures and working hard at the library. So what do these help us achieve? I know some behaviors of hardworking students, such as attending lectures and working hard at the library, I can say. So there should be a main clause that is added at the beginning. Number 24 is agreement. You and your brother informs the police about me. So you and your brother, plural. Instead of saying informs, it should be inform. So the problem is agreement error and the correction is as such. The next one is he took the national exam, his sister sat for TOEFL. These are two sentences and they are separated off by comma, therefore they should be either the error is run on, they should be split or joined by a conjunction. And his sister, you can add and. The next part is paragraph writing part. So the instruction is you are asked to read this paragraph and then identify the unrelated sentence, because we said there should be unity in sentence writing, and you identify the unrelated sentence in 5 minutes. Okay, to save our time, the unrelated sentences this is the unrelated sentence. Let us make it in a different color. Yeah. Did you answer this? Did you answer as such? Very good. So in paragraph, if you remember something unrelated, you should not just put anything that comes to your mind. You should write something that contributes to the main idea only. So you achieve unity as a result, one of the characteristics of writing. I think earlier I mentioned to you that there should have been some part, some exercise where you put the conjunctions in the blank spaces, but I didn't put that. You can find in some books, you can find any conjunction activity, then you will be learning about coherence or organization. Now another activity that is common in many writing tests is this one, reordering the jumbled sentences. Then you make a coherent paragraph. To reorder this, you need, I think, 3 minutes. Okay, let us reorder them. The first one is this one. The second one is this one. The second, number 2. Oh, or I'll write this in front of them. This is number 1. The at last sentence is number 2. The last one underneath is number 3. The second one is number 4. And this one is number 5 now. Now is number 5. Okay. Finally, we have an essay which you are asked to order. Let us just put it on a single page, and you order the sentences. Let me give you some time to scan them. Order. Just try to scan them in 5 minutes. receiving yeah, just scan them in a minute and a half. Okay, so the final one is this. Scan it in half a minute. So let us write the answer. The first one is this traveling sentence. Is number 1. All those sentence. The last one is number 4. But let's go in order. Traveling is my life. The first. The second one is really the second one, which is since I am. Is the second one. The third one is really the third one. The fourth one is the one which is at the end, and the fifth one is the first one. So this is the order. You can check the essay online also. You can find, if you type in one of the sentences, you can find this essay online. And this was the lesson and the activity, and thank you for following up. And just to recap, first unit was on sentences, the second unit was on paragraph, the third unit was on essay. And please try to write paragraphs in each type, and also essays. If you are from old universities, your teachers may focus on paragraph and essay. If you are from new universities, your teachers may focus on chapter 1, the sentence part, and you should pay attention to that and work with your partners and show your writing to your friends. I just explained in English because I have to, but some students may expect to be explained in their languages. Anyhow, just I tried what I have. This is what today, and I request you to give me the impressive if needs any improvement. Thank you for following up. Keep in touch, and just thank you. Bye, have a nice time. Keep sharing, subscribe, like, and comment.